And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review. This is SPQR from the Alliance Beta, so pretty awesome. Now, SPQR has been a whale for a little over 2 years, so kind of has everything down, knows both of the arenas and how to run it, obviously running a very effective team in both. Really just kind of wants to know where to go with a few Zetas. And then whether to do certain team comps and stuff, and then afterwards kind of are there any holes in his roster that should be filled? Now, with roster reviews over the last week, you're going to hear a bit of a broken record. There's been a couple of these guys who are whales over a couple of years, and so they're in the game. In game means they basically have everything. SPQR is currently at 3.5+ million GP, really in-game character, and so Night Sisters are ready to be had. This is the time to finish them off and get them really viable everywhere in the game, especially in the beginning of Phase 4 of the Sith Raid and Territory Wars, defensive teams or offensive teams, and then of course to use them all the way through the dark side territory battles. And so you have all the characters. Really the only one that I see that needs geared up is going to be Talia. Acolyte and Initiate are not characters I would suggest. I would actually suggest the Mother Talzin, Ventress, Zombie Daka, Talia, and Night Sister Spirit, and you've got all of them basically gear 11 except for Talia. And the reason is those 6 characters you're gonna make substitutions. If you're doing the Sith Raid, you're gonna use Talia in that 5th slot. The 4 that you'll always use are your top 4. Of course, you're going to use, Mother Talzin. You're going to use Asajj and her leadership. You're going to use Night Sister Zombie as your tank. And then, of course, you're going to use Old Daka for revive capability. You need to get the Omegas, though, on Old Daka. You need to finish her off. So this is a good time now to really hyper-focus on the Night Sisters. And then for Talia, of course, she is amazing for the Sith Raid. She's going to be a plug-in character for Sith Raid, but really that's the only time you'll use her, but she'll help you get more damage in that Phase 4 team. And then Night Sister Spirit once you get 7 stars. And you did mention that you're farming Holdo and Rose in the light side, dark side battles, and then Marauder and Spirit out of the Cantina store. So very good. This is definitely a great character. What makes Night Sister Spirit so amazing is in the team, everybody's trying for kill order. They always try to kill Old Daka and then Mother Talzin and then Asajj, and then whoever else is the 5th, and then the zombie last. And so Night Sister Spirit is left till the second to last kill, and it makes sense too because of Malevolent Spirit. She's just constantly got foresight up, and it makes it really, really hard to hit her anyway. And so it's kind of like, trying to run uphill in the battle anyway. And so because of that, people just leave her to the second to last. And so for Territory Wars defensive team, she's a great addition to the character. And this attack has 100% offense, and her attacks ignore armor. So she hits hard, and she can hit in her possess for like 30k plus, and she dispels and stuns, much like Kylo Ren Unmasked. She has a dispel stun, and that is really, really powerful. And with her over there hitting for 30k, the other team starts to crumble as they're attempting to take out Old Daka and Mother Talzin and Zombie and Asajj Ventress. And so really great addition for every other aspect of the game. So Talia for the beginning of Phase 4 in the Sith Raid, and then Night Sister Spirit for everywhere else, including Territory Wars. The Zeta that I would recommend, really only 3 Zetas that you need. It would be the leadership and the unique of Asajj Ventress. And then also Talzin's unique Plague Bearer definitely deserves a Zeta. And then a lot of people suggest Old Daka's Zeta, but I actually don't think you need Old Daka Zeta whatsoever. I don't have it, and my team works just fine. So go ahead and do Asajj Ventress's 2 Zetas, Mother Talzin Zetas, and finish off Talia and Night Sister Spirit, and this team will be an absolute powerhouse. Now, you did ask about First Order. You thought about throwing a Zeta on First Order Stormtrooper, and you can. If you end up having a bunch of extra Zetas sitting around and you want to do somebody to make this team a little more durable, you can do Return Fire. It does make things more fun with all the extra counterattacking, and it does make the team more durable, especially with Territory Wars defense, but it's not a necessary or absolutely required Zeta, and the team looks phenomenal as it is, so that I'm going to leave on the table as optional, but I highly recommend those 3 Night Sisters Sisters that I just suggested. Now, we talked about whether you should do First Order Stormtrooper or not, and that you should focus on the Night Sisters, what you're farming in Light and Dark Side and Cantina. You wanted to know missing spots. What are you not focused on that you should be focused on? And we know you're going to focus on Night Sisters, but a couple holes, just 2 small holes that I saw in your entire roster, and your roster looks phenomenal, by the way. The first is Enfys Nest. Now, the reason why this is a big hole, in my opinion, is you spent the $9.99 pack to get the extra star. So first off, wasted money opportunity. If you're not going to even gear her up, you could have just saved the $10 and farmed her later on down the road. So if you're going to go in on the $10, you might as well get her up to level 85 and start gearing her up. Get her up to gear 8 and 9. You should have enough gear to do that pretty easily. But this character is basically kind of like a mini sub Wampa, kind of like a Wampa 2.0. Doesn't hit for quite as hard, but has a really amazing standalone kit. And if you had a character sitting in your roster that is basically like a Wampa, and you had access to gearing up a second Wampa, you would. And I know you would, because we look at your roster, and when we go to the top, we see a double Zetaed Wampa. So I know you run and enjoy the Wampa you currently have. And so I highly recommend that you make the change in mindset on Enfys Nest and just go all in on her, gear her up, get her up there. You don't have to spend any money on the gear. Take your time gearing her up. It takes about a week for where you're at, and don't worry about her stars, but she and her Zeta are amazing. And so I would recommend the Zeta on the Fighting Instinct and getting her abilities maxed out. But like I said, take your time, don't waste any money on her, but just make her the highest priority of any character that you have that you're not currently focused on. And she's a great side project that after a couple of months, she's going to go free to play. You'll be able to farm her up to 7 stars. You'll be able to finish off her gear and stars then. And she will be a great plug and play character, especially for territory wars. So this is the one character I found that I was like, why would you spend $10 and then not do anything with? So definitely Enfys Nest. And then the second, and again, you don't have many holes, but the second is Ewoks. That's right, Ewoks. At 3.5 mil GP, there's not a whole lot left for you to do, but there are some teams you can really focus on, and Ewoks are absolutely amazing. Not only can you use them in the light side territory battles and areas like that, and there's events that you can use them in, but better than that, territory wars. They work absolutely amazing versus JTR teams and First Order teams. That's right, First Order teams go down fast against this team. Now, if you're wondering Zetas on this team, once you get done with your Night Sisters and you move on to the Ewoks, you're going to need to do the leadership abilities, Simple Tactics. Definitely get this one Zetaed, because Chief Chirpa Zeta is absolutely required. The second, which is not required but highly recommended, is Furtive Tactics. It's going to give you protection and health regeneration, and the protection regeneration. The protection regeneration is in territory wars more important than health regeneration. So I would do the protection regeneration Zeta on Wicket and Chief Chirpa's lead. So 2 Zetas is all you need, but if you don't do Wickets, the 1 Zeta on Chirpa will be sufficient. I don't have a Zeta on Wicket. I only have a Zeta on Chirpa, and I walk through JTR teams and First Order teams. In fact, I'm always responsible for having to kill 2 of the First Order teams that the opponents have, and I do it successfully every territory war. I use my Finn lead resistance team to take out one team, and then I use my Ewoks to take the other First Order team out. So I am a First Order killer specialist, if you want to say that. Now, the secret to this team, aside from the Zeta, is going to be getting them all to at least gear 11 at a minimum, and using Poplu, Logray, Chirpa, Wicket, and Elder. So don't use the 2 to the left, Tebow or Ewok Scout, but Poplu needs to be fast, really fast, 200 to 220 speed. He's the only one that needs speed on this team, and he starts the turn meter train on the team. Don't use his taunt right off the bat, which is diversion. Start with Galvanize, and then you'll take off with turn meter. It's pretty awesome. And then, of course, crit chance, crit damage on Logray, Chirpa, and Wicket. They don't even need a ton of speed. And then health mods on Ewok Elder. And this team, like I said, is just a really amazing team. There are other good teams like Bounty Hunters, that both the reworked Bounty Hunters and the brand new Bounty Hunters from the Han Solo movie are really worth it. So once you get Ewoks finished off, because you've got them all, starred up, then you could move on to maybe one of those bounty hunter teams as kind of something to chew on after that. But I believe Night Sisters first, and then Ewoks next for the 2 factions you need to finish off. You've got a couple of Zetas for Night Sisters to worry about, a couple of Zetas for Ewoks to worry about, and the only side project I really see you should be doing is definitively Nest. So you're doing really well, SPQR. Everything looks amazing. Your arena teams are great. I'm glad that you're kicking butt and doing well. If you need any other advice, hit me up privately on Discord, as you always do. And as always, keep your gaming on. Warrior out.